Title: She slept with our daughter's fiancé, then asked me to raise the baby. Chapter 1: The Backyard Confession. I never imagined that a quiet Sunday morning would be the day my entire world collapsed. The sun was shining, the breeze was soft, and the sound of birds filled the backyard. My wife and I were sitting together, sipping coffee like we had countless times before. It was peaceful until it wasn't. She turned to me, pale and visibly shaken, her lips trembling as she whispered, "We need to talk." My gut tightened. My first thought was cancer, or something wrong with her health. I reached for her hand. But then she looked me in the eyes and said it, "I'm pregnant." I blinked, stunned. We hadn't planned for more children, we weren't young anymore. But I wasn't angry. I was confused. I forced a nervous smile and asked, "Okay, how do you feel about it?" That's when her composure shattered. She broke into sobs, her hands trembling as tears streamed down her face. Then came the words that would haunt me forever. "It's not yours." I felt like the earth cracked beneath me. My heart stopped. For a moment I couldn't breathe. It had to be a mistake, a one-time lapse in judgment. But when I asked, barely able to speak, she gave me the name. It was Ethan, my daughter's fiancé. I couldn't feel my hands. My chest was hollow. Ethan. The same man who had sat at our table, smiled at our family dinners, toasted to my daughter's happiness. The man Claire was going to marry. My mind screamed in disbelief, but her next words confirmed the nightmare. It started that night Claire was away. We had wine. I didn't mean for it to. I didn't hear the rest. I stood up in silence, walked back into the house and started packing her things. Every drawer. Every closet. Her life was tossed out onto the driveway like the trash she'd made of our marriage. She stood there begging, crying, saying she didn't mean to fall for him. Then she said something so grotesque I nearly laughed. She asked me to adopt the child. And right then I knew there was no coming back. Chapter 2: The Fall of a Family. I told her to leave. And I meant it. She tried to follow me inside, sobbing, pleading that I at least hear her out. But I had already heard enough. I told her she was no longer my wife the moment she slept with our daughter's fiancé. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't scream. That was too much energy for someone who didn't deserve even my anger. She collapsed on the lawn, begging me not to do this. But I didn't stop. I called a lawyer the very next morning. The divorce moved faster than even I expected. Once the infidelity evidence was shown in court, everything shifted in my favor. I kept the house, the savings, everything. She walked out with a suitcase and a baby in her womb that wasn't mine. But it wasn't over. Not by a long shot. Claire came over 3 days later. She was carrying her wedding dress in a garment bag, excited for final fittings. I didn't know how to tell her. I couldn't even look her in the eyes. So I handed her the letter. My ex had written it for me, some pathetic handwritten apology I couldn't stomach reading. But Claire did. I watched my daughter read the truth about her fiancé and her own mother. I watched her knees buckle beneath her as she collapsed onto the floor. And then I heard a sound I will never forget, a scream raw and sharp, like her soul had been torn out. She didn't just lose her future husband. She lost her mother. She lost her faith in people. I tried to catch her as she fell, but some wounds don't allow you to be held. Chapter 3: What Remains After the Ruin. Claire moved in with me after that. She barely spoke, barely ate. She'd stare at the ceiling for hours, as if trying to unsee the memories that had become weapons in her mind. I tried to keep things normal, cooked her favorite meals, left flowers in her room, played music from her childhood. But nothing reached her. Not for a long time. She'd have panic attacks when she heard a love song on the radio. She once burst into tears at the sight of a wedding cake display. Her therapist said she was dealing with severe betrayal trauma and loss of identity. It made sense. How do you rebuild your idea of the world when your own mother becomes the villain? I stayed strong for her. Or tried to. At night, when she finally fell asleep, I'd step into the hallway and break down alone. I had to be the rock she leaned on, but that didn't mean I wasn't shattered too. Eventually she moved out. Her therapist said creating space might help her reclaim independence. And maybe it did. But part of me feared I'd lost my daughter in a way I couldn't fix. Then the emails began. My ex-wife sent pictures of the baby. A little boy. She said he should know his grandfather. That the baby was innocent. That he deserved love. But I couldn't do it. Because every time I looked at that child, all I could see was betrayal given form. I blocked her. I had to. For my sanity. For my daughter's. And yet, part of me hated the idea that the child would grow up without ever knowing the family he was born into. Even if he was born from ashes. Chapter 4: The Fire and the Frost. Time passed. I poured myself into work, into hobbies, into silence. I built something new out of the wreckage, my own peace on my own terms. I still believed in love, but I no longer believed in denying truth to protect it. That was the difference now. People ask me sometimes, do you regret not forgiving her? Not giving the child a chance? Let me ask you this, how do you forgive someone who detonates a bomb in the center of your life and hands you the trigger? My ex-wife didn't just cheat on me. She robbed our daughter of her faith in love, stole our family's future, and tried to hand me a life I never asked for. She wanted me to raise the child of the man who destroyed my daughter's world. There's no forgiveness for that. Only acceptance. Only moving forward. Claire still struggles, but she smiles now sometimes. She adopted a rescue dog, started working with kids at a local center. I see glimpses of the woman she was meant to be, and that's enough for me. As for me, I sit alone some nights with a scotch in hand, and the silence that once haunted me now comforts me. I built this life again, not out of rage, not out of bitterness, but because when someone poisons your soul, you don't drink it and pretend it's wine. You pour it out, and walk away. Chapter 5. The Stranger with My Eyes. A few months ago I saw them. It was a rainy Thursday, nothing special. I had stopped by a small cafe downtown, the kind of quiet place where nobody knows your name. I ordered my usual, took a seat by the window. Then I saw her. My ex-wife. She was across the street, fumbling with a stroller, umbrella awkwardly clutched in one hand. She looked older, tired. Her movements had none of the grace I once admired. The man beside her, I assumed he was just a passerby, walked past without offering help. She was alone. And then the child looked up. Big eyes. Curious. Maybe 2 years old. And for a brief second our eyes met. He had my daughter's nose. Stopped my breath. Not because I saw myself in him, because I saw what could have been. A grandchild under different circumstances. A family healed instead of broken. But life doesn't run on could have been. It runs on choices. And the choices that led to that child had destroyed too much. I didn't approach them. I didn't want to stir the past. But as I sat there watching them fade down the street, I felt something strange. Pity. Not anger, not regret. Just sorrow for the version of her that believed she could shatter everything and still ask for grace. And sorrow for the child, born into a story he didn't write. When I got home that night, I lit a candle. It wasn't for her. It was for closure. For letting go of the weight I didn't even know I was still carrying. You don't need revenge to move on. You don't need an apology. Sometimes you just need to stand in the quiet and finally say, that chapter is done. I haven't seen them again. But I hope the boy grows up kind. I hope he learns that love is sacred, not selfish. I hope he breaks the cycle that created him. As for me, I'm still here. Still healing. Still building. And maybe, just maybe, that's enough.